So the saying, you cannot live it or breathe it if you're not it, comes from this old adage that, let's say you are going into sales, they'll tell you you've got to live and breathe sales, right? Which makes sense. But if you're not that salesperson, if that's not what makes you tick, then as hard as you try, you will not be able to live it and breathe it genuinely, and therefore you will not be able to be that kind of person, right? And what I think happens is that individuals go into a particular job, or they go into a particular sector of business, and they pretend, right? So they know in order to be good at their job, or in order to be good at the business they're in, that they've got to be genuine, right? And sometimes they even want to be genuine, so they start to pretend to be this person, right? So for example, when we set up our business, one of our first businesses about 10 years ago, you know, it was heavily reliant upon sales. You know, you had to get sales in the front door. And as much as I wanted to be the sales guy, right, as much as I wanted to go out there and sell, that just wasn't me, right? It just wasn't what I was cut out to be. One of my business partners, however, he was excellent at sales, right? He could, you know, chirp the birds out of the trees and all the rest of it. But that wasn't me. What I realized that I was good at was doing things like building relationships and marketing, and, you know, looking after other areas of the business, which I realized if I did that well enough, it could indirectly translate into sales, right? So I started to focus on that. But I realized that, you know, being this sales guy just wasn't working for me. And what was actually happening was it was having the reverse effect of you know, in terms of getting sales, right? It was having a negative effect on our sales, because I was doing something that I wasn't, right? And I couldn't live it, I couldn't breathe it, because that's not the kind of person I was. So what I'm suggesting for people that are trying to go into whatever sector of business or whatever job you're going to go for, right? There are going to be people who genuinely live it and breathe it, right? And that's going to be your competition. So you need to decide whether or not you're going to go up against someone in business who is genuinely the real deal, who is a genuine article, right? Do you really want that to be your competition? Because, you know, you'll never be able to outdo them. You'll never be able to, you know, get more market share. You're never going to be able to beat that person, to beat that company, because they really do it and you don't. You're just pretending. So it's not all doom and gloom. What I'm getting to is you've got to find what helps you to live and breathe, right? And turn that into a business. But this is the kind of thing that, you know, people, you know, this is the kind of thing that causes people to really believe in themselves and what it is that they really want to do, and all the rest of it. There's lots of, you know, psychological barriers that come up at this point. But I think this is where the magic is. And if we can overcome some of those internal challenges and actually admit and be honest with ourselves about what it is that makes us tick and therefore makes us breathe, we can become very effective and very successful at whatever it is, right? Because, you know, we've all heard a million times that, you know, money is a byproduct of success. It's a byproduct of doing a really good job. Yeah, you don't go out to make money. You go out to add value, to deliver something that that has a high value to your customer or a client, and then they part with their hard-earned money for that particular product or service, right? So why put yourself in a situation where you've got to work harder than you wouldn't have to if you were doing what made you tick, what made you live and breathe? And that is the suggestion, because otherwise you're going to spend a very long time pretending to be something you're not, and it's going to become a struggle and you cannot sustain it, right? So this idea of being able to sustain success is more important than, you know, reaching the heights of success and burning out, right? I don't think that's the way forward, and I'm not sure that's what we should be teaching the next generation of young people who want to get into business or the world of employment or whatever, right? I think we should be teaching them, and this is something that, you know, us grown-ups should look at, is doing what is closely aligned to what makes you tick and what makes you breathe.